All right, welcome back to another episode of the Success Mindset Podcast. I am so excited about today's episode, having Achut Deng on. Again, you graduated LOT, the winter cohort, I believe, this year. And as you all know, that I love having folks from different walks of life, different perspectives, and we got to have a great conversation at one of our Leaders of Tomorrow networking events. And I mean, I feel like it was probably longer than that, but just in that short 5 to 10 minute window, I was like, I need to have you on this podcast because you have such a compelling story. And as we all know, again, we go through trials and tribulations in life. And people often talk about perspective and resiliency, those type of things. Well, I think you are the epitome of resilient and strength and those type of things. So before we dive in, tell the folks who have may not had the privilege of getting to meet you, who you are, where you're from, and unpack a little bit of your journey, how you arrived in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yes, such a privilege to be here and share this moment with you, Tamian. I'm very honored to share this moment with you. Again, my name is Achut Deng. Originally, I was born in South Sudan. Came to America 22 years today. Well, not today, but 22 years ago. Sioux Falls, 9 years. And so moved here for a very crazy reason. I'm pretty sure, I hope I'm not the first person to say this, but I moved here for a man, right? Crazy to say, but that was the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Today, that is not the case, though.
Mm-hmm.
I am blessed with my youngest son. And so after that didn't work out, I decided to stay here. I fell in love with the community, with how small Sioux Falls is. Single mother of 3 boys. So I'm like, okay, I love the community. Before I came to Sioux Falls, I was in Kansas City, Missouri, which is a very big city compared to Sioux Falls.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, if I move, since this relationship didn't work, and now I have 3 boys that I love, and now I'm going to raise them by myself. Do I go back to a big city that I'm familiar with, or do I stay here? So I said, no, I'm going to stay here, raise them here. I know all of their friends, so I rather just stay here.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to just stay here and work hard and be that great mother.
Yes. How old are your
And
boys again?
my boys are 15, 14, and 8.
Okay.
Yeah,
So lots of energy in your house.
a lot of energy. Seriously, sometimes I feel like a tomboy instead of a woman.
Yeah.
Right? Because, 3 boys, and I
Yeah.
have to think like them.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
we help balance the world out because I got 3 girls, and so I don't
Yeah.
want to say I feel like a princess sometimes, but maybe
Right? Yes.
yeah. So I was talking success, right? It means different things to different people, and along your journey, I want to kind of unpack some of your journey of some of the things that you've been through, you've seen how your life has evolved. But what's interesting is people's definition of success changes over time. Let's backtrack a little bit, just to maybe some of your upbringing and, before you come into the U.S., what did success mean to you? What did you aspire to what was success to you in any way, shape, or form? Or what was that picture of success in your mind prior to coming to America?
So for me, you are looking at a girl that grew up in the refugee camp.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I say a refugee camp, for those who don't know, well, they just hear refugees or immigrants. For me, I'm a refugee, right? I grew up in a cage. For me, it's like a cave. It's straight up a cage. You don't know when your next meal is gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
So you eat once a day. The water you are drinking is not enough or clean.
Mm-hmm.
You go to bed starving. It's not even hungry. Starvation.
Yeah.
Disease is, you can't even explain what that is you can just die from diseases that are unnecessary to take a life.
Mm-hmm.
And so life in the refugee camp, you can only dream until you give up. It's like, okay, why am I wasting time when I know I can literally just die?
Yeah.
So you go to bed just hoping to wake up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And even waking up, you don't know when the sun is going to go down, because it's like 12 hours it becomes so long,
Yeah.
and night become too long as well.
Mhm.
And so when I had the opportunity, going through the interview, and I'm not gonna spoil because
Mhm.
I had the opportunity to write the book. Um, all I asked was I want life,
Yeah.
and so that was my success. I want life, and my life is to go to America, where I'm not gonna just go to sleep with the hope of waking up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can just go to sleep knowing I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I will work hard and have a better chances of education and even water to take a shower and what that sanitation looked like. I didn't know
Mhm.
what it was until I came to America. So success for me when I came to the United States, I started working at 16. I have never stopped until today.
Mhm.
And so there are, a couple of my friends every now and then they go, "So we want to go camping." Oh, hell no. I've half of my life when I was in Africa, that's what I was doing.
Mhm.
I'm going to work so that I don't experience what camping looked like.
Yeah.
I want a success, and that's what I've been doing. Is
Yeah.
success. Go to work. Whether it's the physical work or not,
Mhm.
guess what? I have a house. There is a AC. There's food. My kids are not going to sleep starving.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's a success for me as a refugee child.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So two things I want to unpack in that. One, um, I've read the book. Viktor Frankl wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. So he was a survivor of the World War II Nazi German death camps, and he really called out there was two things that determined survival. We had 1 out of 28 people actually survived during World War II death camps. The first one he talked about was hope. And he said the moment he saw people lose hope, he would see like they would die within days or weeks. Going back to what you had said about just the hope and truly not knowing where your next meal is going to come from, seeing people, dying around you from, again, diseases in America, we don't even think twice about, like, we have cures for all those type of things. How did hope really play a role in the spirit of being in the refugee camp, of those who, once you saw them lose hope, those type of things? How did you hold on to hope, not, again, with no real grasp that you were going to be able to leave or do anything? Like, what did hope look like for you, making it through those moments?
For me, just when night come and there is no more sun, right? You just stare at the sun going down.
Hmm.
As long you are still awake, you have hope.
Mm.
Now, if you happen to go to sleep and you close your eye unknowing, it is better. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm going to sleep, let me just put a blanket on my head." No. So it's better for you to just stay up.
Hmm.
And if you happen to close your eye, okay. If you wake up, you are lucky. And if you don't wake up, at least you didn't plan to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You just happened to close your eye.
Hmm.
And so the hope for us was just, or for me, was just stay up and count all the stars that you can't. And we also did have church 7 days a week.
Mm.
We have church at night because we have like groups, and we will go to church at 7 p.m. Just to entertain ourselves, and to pray God. We will go there. We will go from 7 p.m. up until 11 p.m. or even 12 p.m. Or 12 a.m. Until we go back to our compound. And then even coming back to our compound, then we'll start creating some games until you fall asleep. So that was the hope there. You try to hold on so you're not going to sleep.
Hmm.
And if you do, you're not planning on, hey, it's time to go to sleep, because you
Yeah.
try to stay up as possible.
Hmm.
Because, you know, I lost so many friends. You play with people around you, but then you wake up in the morning and they're gone. It's just bodies there.
Mm.
That was the life that was the life in the refugee camp. And so when you come to America, you plan to succeed no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does that baseline, we get to a space of knowing what bad is like that's those type of circumstances. How does that feed your perspective today where some people I got a flat tire and their whole world is upside down, not to minimize those type of things, but you have a whole different level of perspective of like where you came from and the things you experienced. How does that then feed and fuel like your perspective today when things don't go right, knowing that you know a whole different layer of how things may not go right in your life? How does that fuel your perspective today of viewing challenges or when things aren't going the way you want them to?
So what I normally do when I see stuff happening like that, I try my best to first don't be too judgmental, because yes, you know, for example, when I see some of our, because I came to America as one of the lost boys, and there are also the lost boys, and I'm one of the lost girls, right? And we all face challenges differently, and we all would deal with things differently. So there are some of the refugees that took the past, and they are being controlled by their past.
Yeah.
For me, I stand up and say, no, my past doesn't. I'm not going to let my past dictate my future.
Yeah.
Because my past, I didn't choose that. Somebody else chose that for me.
Yes.
So for me, when I ran into folks that complain about things that are, to me, they not big of a deal. It's like what you are complaining right now is literally like the simplest thing that you can pick up and fix.
Yeah.
So I try not to be like, hey, what I intend to do at most situations is like, okay, this is what I've been through. My friend, let it go. Experience it. If it's the pain, feel it.
Yes.
Feel the pain and move forward. Because if you are trying to ignore it by taking a bottle of whiskey because you don't want to feel the pain, by tomorrow, that bottle of whiskey or the whiskey you just drank is gonna be gone, and the pain will still be there. So for me, I rather feel the pain and move forward.
Yes.
Just acknowledge what you are going through right now, and move forward.
That's just powerful words.
Yeah.
I think so many people don't grab that because we run from it. We don't like pain.
Yeah.
But there's going to be moments. Life has a contrast. It has lifestyle, regardless of the level and depth of those type of things. And I love that, experience it. Like some things, and sometimes you're supposed to learn those things. I'm so confident of what your story, and we'll get into the book here in a second, of like what your story is going to do to unlock so many people that says, that was inspirational. Oh, she went through those type of things, and why can't I do X, Y, Z? You are that picture of resiliency, those type of things. And people need to hear that.
Yeah.
Sit in it for the moment, learn from it, grow from it. But there's another day, kind of almost like the analogy of, again, the hope that the sun's going to rise tomorrow and I have a new chance of actually doing something when a good portion of your life.
Yes.
Your point, you said, I was in this prison of, there's only so much you could do. Then, now when you have the chance, you can better yourself. You can go to school. You can choose to work hard, all these different things, like take advantage of those. A big thing in our journey, right? We talk about this in our Leaders of Tomorrow class. A principle of exposure says that in what you're exposed to influences who you become. So now you come to America, and as you started to work hard, build this life, obviously bring 3 beautiful sons into this world. What were some of those key factors that helped to inspire you to keep reaching at that next level? So obviously you get to a place, obviously you get, the basics of a job, a place to live, all those type of things. What were maybe some of those key factors along your journey that really influenced you to keep reaching and keep wanting more? And because you could have settled. A lot of people come and just do something just enough. One thing I've got to know about you is there's no such thing as good enough. You're going to keep growing and set the example. What were some of those key moments or key things that really inspired you to keep striving to be the next better version that you're capable of becoming?
So after, for me, with everything that I've been through in life, right? Growing up without parent, and then coming as for life when I went through the interview, because coming to America, it is the hardest thing for those who have never experienced it. It is not easy. You have to go through the interview, and they ask you a lot of questions. Why do you want to go to America? And you have to practice. You have to come up with questions. You have to rehearse. You have to say a lot. But for me, the only thing I wanted was that. Or when the interviewer asked me, "Why do you want to go to America?" I want life, and he said, "You don't have life here in Kakuma refugee camp." And I told him, "I have hope. Hope to wake up in the morning." Yes, I'm breathing as I'm talking to you here. I'm breathing. So yes, I do have life, but that's not what I have. I have hope. So I want life. If I go to America, I will have life. And trust me, I'm not going to disappoint you. And that was it. All the questions that I was told before I was called in disappeared in my head. And so when I came to America, there was more that I face in life. But then after I find out that I was pregnant with my oldest son, a lot of things changed for me.
Yeah.
And then I have him. This is a lady, a girl. I was 22. I don't know what a mother looked like. I grew up with, I don't know what that perfect mom looked like. And here I create a human being. What am I going to do? I freaked out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not going to fail him. I'm going to figure out what love looked like, what a motherhood looked like. And so he's not going to go to sleep starving like I did. I'm going to do whatever it takes for this child to have everything in this world that I have never had. And that's it. That's my inspirational ever since. And so it's not about me in a way. It's about my first child, my second one, and my third one. And so I'm going to make sure I grew up in a hut. I'm going to make sure they have a house for me. Because everything that I did not fulfill, I'm going to do it for my boys.
Yeah.
So they inspired me every step of the way. And so that have been, I don't have no excuse. I'm physically stable. I'm mentally stable, emotionally. So I'm healthy.
Yeah.
So what is my excuse not to say I am an American and everything an American woman is doing, I can't do?
Say it.
What is my
Say
excuse?
it.
What is my excuse?
Yeah. I got goosebumps when you talked about that
Yeah.
We often lose sight of, again, to say, like, again, I would say good parenting is repeating the good things that your parents did, and then the things that you didn't like, changing those. Just like you had no baseline, right? Like there was no baseline of any of that. And we talk about it at Think 3D all the time, the ability to figure it out. Like you literally had to like figure this out. But to have that stirring inside you again, and talk about resiliency and the things, and again, even have someone says where the world will have, I heard it, there's a million and one excuses, but no good reasons. And you just refuse to say, I'm not going to allow any excuses. You could have said, I made it here, but I didn't have X, Y, Z. I mean, again, most of the world would be like, oh, yeah, I understand because, and it would be understandable. But to say I refuse to allow those things is so powerful. And that's the type of thing where I love your story. I love everything that you're about. I'm so glad that you have this book coming out so people can read it. Because again, it's going to give so many, in my opinion, going to give so many people permission to step into their next level of greatness. Like if she did it, what is my excuse when their reasons is much, much less. But back to that idea of proximity. So along your journey, Troy, you got here at 15. You came to America at 15, right?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah.
So you've been here 22 years. And we always say, like, for a lot of folks, they don't reach for things that they don't believe is possible, primarily because of proximity. Like they haven't seen someone do that, or they don't know that's possible. Who are maybe a few characters along your way? Who are some people that was on your journey that you would say you looked up to or helped, spark either belief or, confidence in you, or even just to have a closeness to see them to say, I want to be like that person? Who are some of those people along your path that you got to see that you had some kind of positive influence on you that helped you become better or inspired you to become better?
I have a lot. I have a lot. My the first person, and I did start listening to him or read some of his books in the refugee camp was Nelson Mandela,
Mm.
and I love that guy
Hmm.
because he put a country together after he had so much love, even though he spent so much time in jail or in prison. He still came out with love and not
Yeah.
and not a hate.
Hmm.
He still came out and lead a country with love because he let his he he didn't let the hate of people who didn't know what they were doing. He didn't let that control him.
Yeah.
So he came out and still believed that this is what I believe. I have love.
Hmm.
There are children and women and people that are vulnerable that don't the politics and the power. This is not what the country need. This is not what these children need. This is not these women need. They need love.
Hmm.
And so even though I went through this and spent all this time in prison, I'm going to come out and give them their dignity, the love.
Yeah.
So because of that, even though, and that's why I don't let my past control me,
Hmm.
because I was a child. My father was taken to the military. He was literally in the hut with his mom and my mom when my mom was pregnant. And he was literally taken away and said, "You go into the military." He didn't have a choice. So with Nelson Mandela, he knew, I'm going to come out from the prison, 27 years, and I'm going to go back out here, forget my experience, and I'm going to give the country what he deserved or what the country deserved.
Hmm.
So for me, I am inspired by him.
Yeah.
Now, also, I have so many other people. And then coming to America, I start watching and I start reading a lot. Um, I do read a lot of Malcolm X. Um, I am Christian, but then when I was born, and all of this, I put him in a book, right? Um, my name changed, and I'm not Muslim. I'm Christian, but I don't judge. But then everything that I've been through, there was change of a name. I was told, oh, if not me, but in the village, somebody went there and said, if you pick a name in the Bible, you will go to heaven.
Mm.
Everything that I've been through, the people that abuses me picked a name in the Bible. Are they going to go to heaven?
Mhm.
So I struggle with faith as well,
Mhm.
and that drawn my attention to start reading Malcolm X books
Mm.
and start seeing him in a way, and and his belief. And that didn't change my belief to be Muslim, but at the same time, I still I'm still Christian. You
Mhm.
know, that didn't change me. But then some of his belief, I'm like, okay, this man, he fight for the freedom, and then I go to MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. Love that man, and have all of his, not all of his pictures, but some of his pictures. It's like the freedom fighters.
Mhm.
What was his belief behind him?
Yeah.
You know, uh, did he? Did he die for the country? Did he die for the people? Yes, he did. That's my opinion. Um, who did I again? Maya Angelou. A lot of her quotes.
Mm-hmm.
What she been through. I've been through that.
Yeah.
What she, she went quiet for a long time. I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And finally I broke out of that. And that's why I am open today to the world with my children.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
At some point there are something that you can go through, but at some moment you don't feel comfortable. But you have to find that yourself. You have to find your own identity to speak up.
Yeah, well, I think that's an important point that so many people, all these folks, they're getting, inspiration is everywhere, right? There's no excuse to not find inspiration. I'm in the same boat. I never had like a direct mentor. It was books. I got inspiration from all these folks, and one of the commonalities amongst all those individuals, which hopefully people start to take back, and you just said it, identity. They weren't a true gift to the world until they found who they were.
Yes.
And found their voice. And once you find out who you are, now you get to speak from a different platform and speak from this level of authenticity, because you can't get wrong being you.
Yeah.
But when you're your authentic self, people resonate with that.
Yeah.
You had said, so back to Nelson Mandela, one of my favorite quotes that he has had is that he said, "I never lose. I either win or I learn."
Yes.
And just a bumper sticker, type of mantra, because we all go through things.
Yeah.
And it's only a failure if you don't learn from it. But if you learn from it, you're growing from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that maybe failure has taught you along the way, or how are you a better version of yourself today because of some of the challenges and trials and tribulations that you've been through along your journey on this earth? How do you see failure? How do you embrace it, and how do you grow from that in the same vein that Nelson Mandela talks about?
So it seemed impossible, right? That's one of Nelson Mandela. For me, one of the failure that thank God I didn't go through it, right? One of the things that I feel like it bring me and made me a better version of myself. It's one of the episode, and it's in the book. This was 2001. I reached my lowest point, and this is here in America, right? Where I felt I wanted to come to a better place, the greatest nation on earth. I knew when I was given the opportunity to come to America, that's it. I'm going to pick up myself. I'm safe. I'm secure. I'm here. But again, I attempted suicide. So that was the lowest point. When I was in the refugee, I have never thought of it. It never crossed my mind at all. And that was because death was all over the place.
Yeah.
It was only hope. So from that day, I feel like that was the lowest point for me. And I have never thought of it from there. So every time I feel like, I don't think I ever feel that low ever again. But that's like that was the lowest part of my life, because I have never felt like that when I was in the refugee camp, because death was just all over the place. So it can happen at any time.
Yeah.
So you never thought of such a thing.
Yeah.
But then coming to America, death was not going to find me at any time. But then I felt low. I didn't feel confident. I lost all of that. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. But I didn't. And I'm glad I did not.
As we all are, and we're here because you have the resiliency.
Super happy.
Yeah. How have you built that strength? What is it? What does that look like? There's a story. those type of things. So how have you cultivated that? Being a single mom, all the things that, again, it's one of the things that you just have this warrior spirit to me. Where how do you cultivate that to make sure that, that keeps your fire burning on a regular basis? Because challenges are going to come. Life's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? How do you cultivate that to make sure that, again, I get this sense of you like, no matter what happens, you're going to succeed. You're going to be victorious on the end of it. How have you cultivated that from that low moment to now where you're like, I am I am strong. I am resilient. I am a conqueror. How have you worked on that?
I gained everything that I have lost mentally, emotionally. I have gained when I was 27, I worked so hard and I got my citizenship. I got my name back. Um, I take the name that I was told going going to heaven is this. I wasn't told. I was 3 years old, and so my aunt gave me that name. Um, but that's what was preached in the village. So I was able, when I put in my citizenship papers, um, I was able to take that name off.
Mm,
So slowly, I got I got everything that I have lost. I got everything back.
mm,
So the key for me is to remember who you are. So along the way, I reclaim myself. Everything that I felt like I have lost along the way,
mm-hmm,
I got it back. And that's myself.
mm,
And so, you know, raising my boys, I'm doing that by myself. And I am good. I'm doing it to the best of my ability,
mm-hmm,
even though I was never show or there was no foundation, there was
mm-hmm.
no base. I still figured it out and I made sure I let them know we're gonna do this together. Mom doesn't know what it looked like, but guess what? We're gonna get there together.
Yeah.
We will get there together. So for me, I love to laugh. No one can take that away from me. I love
Mm,
comedy. I love music because that's what life is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So you got three boys. So you're obviously thinking about what you're passing on to them, the example you're setting. One of my mantras is you teach through the clarity of your example. What are some of the things that you're hopeful that, beyond providing, a good home, obviously aspiring, I'm sure, for your boys to go to college and those type of things. What are you hoping to pass on along to them in terms of advice, or just to say, here's how, regardless of what you do for a living, regardless of the degrees you get, what are some of those key things that you would tell them of what really makes up a good life? What are you hoping they get from you through your journey, that they see that, so that they too live an even better life than you have set a foundation for them to understand?
What I'm teaching them is that be vulnerable,
Mm,
love, be
okay.
kind, be strong. And at the same time, being strong and to share a tear, it doesn't mean you are weak,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I used to just go in my room and shut the door. And then they will come and I will like act like I was not crying. But then when I decided to be honest and write a book, it's like, no, because why am I being embarrassed to these three human beings that I create? I can protect them to the world, but why am I protecting them from me?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do that? I can protect them to the world, but why am I being so protective to them towards me? They should be able to be open to me,
Yeah.
not to be afraid of me or me
Mm-hmm.
being afraid to them.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a day that I'm going to hurt them. So I should be able to be open and let them know all the things that I've been through. Why am I strong? Is there something that I am sitting on and they don't know? Is there something that is driving me to be this super mom? Is there something there they need to know?
Yeah.
And so for me, I tell them, be you all the time. expand your hand, give a hand out, because that's how I grew up in the refugee camp. There was a UN. They were able to, there was someone in the United States, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, that was able to say, okay, I have a can of beans that I would love to give to this orphanage that are in the refugee camp. Or I have a shirt that I would like to give out to these children in Kakuma refugee camp. That's how your mom was able to make it this far.
Yeah.
So if you ever have something that is extra, make sure you give it to the next person so they can make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm teaching them.
Yeah.
If you make it here, don't forget about this person behind you.
Yeah, build that ladder behind you.
Yeah.
I love that. I love when you said jumped off with vulnerability. I loved. It's crazy because in society, the moment you see someone who's vulnerable, you connect with them. They're human, right? Because we're all human. We're all vulnerable in the moments, but yet so many people turn around and we put on this shield, and it's like, for what, right? And so I love that you're passing on that vulnerability. A huge part of success in my, I always say when you say what are all the characteristic traits of success, you can list out determination, drive, all the different things, but one of the words in that is happiness. Like at the end of the day, if you don't have happiness, like that's not success in my book, nor should it be anyone's book, right?
Yeah.
You can give me $1 billion, but if I'm not happy, I don't want it. How do you, what fuels you? What fills, what are some of the things that you are intentional about soaking in to fill up your bucket to make sure that you're happy, which then leads to that better version of you? What do you do to make sure that you are filling your cup of joy?
So for me, I love to listen to music. I love to associate, to surround myself with positive people. That's for me. That's the key. It's just find myself alone time. And I was so happy when I took the class during the winter here. Because that 20 minute I have not stopped.
20 minutes in your mind?
Yes.
Good for you.
I still do that. And it helps. It helps a lot. Prior to that, what I was doing was, going to the gym with my boys. And it's like 2 hours, we go to the gym. You guys do, go do whatever. But the 2 hours to myself, I don't want nobody to call me a mom. This is this is my time. I'm focusing my music on, and that's it.
Yeah.
But now it's like 20 minutes, no phone, no TV. I sit there. At first, they, Mom, why are you sitting by yourself? It's a little weird, but it's like, nope. Whether I'm sitting somewhere and just quiet, and it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just take off, drive 20 minutes, loud music, and it works.
Yes.
So those are the things that I'm doing. But most importantly, I make sure I associate myself with a positive energy, people that I can connect.
Yes.
Let's think alike.
Yeah.
If I know you're going to bring negative energy to me, I'm cutting you off.
Yes.
Because it is about me. But if I know you are going to bring positive energy, I will make sure I'm doing the same thing. And that's it. I know what I want, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's being positive.
Yeah.
And so
those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Of we preach it obviously in Leaders of Tomorrow, a better you is better for everybody. And so when you then take the 20 minutes, like that time alone was an investment. You've invested in yourself. So there's an investment. It's like kind of like I always use the analogy of going out to eat with a friend. If you went out to eat with a friend and you had to pay every time, how long would you hang out with that friend?
Right.
Well, you want to hang out that long because they're using that thing. It's no different than you're investing in this time of energy to put yourself in a better space. So hanging out with you, that's a benefit, right? And so I want to be around other than people that too, I have value to give to you, and I want to be around people who has value to give to me, right? So such a huge perspective of that. Yeah. Last one, well, normally I forgot our cube conversation card, so I'll just grab one from memory. We usually ask one of these questions of folks in there. But so my question to you would be, rocking chair test. So you're whatever end of life, last couple, 5 years of your life, let's say 85, 90, 100 years, whatever you're aspiring for, you're sitting back and you're in your rocking chair. And you're looking back from that moment until now. What are maybe one or two key factors that you believe will have to take place from your journey today until then, where you are now looking back with satisfaction to say, I did that. That was a life well lived. What is a factor or two that you're like, this is what would make me smile back over my life, looking back from 80 years from or 80 years old to now, where you said that was a really great life I lived.
To me, knowing that I did not fail myself, knowing that I didn't fail the community, because what we do, I feel like what you do that is negative will also affect the community, our society, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if working hard every day, to take care of my business, taking care of what is mine, whether it's me and my children,
Mm-hmm.
that means I'm taking care of a society. I'm taking care of Sioux Falls. It's one thing that I lived off of, from Tamian,
Mm-hmm.
or a governor or a mayor,
Mm-hmm.
plate. So that would be one of the things, knowing that I took care of my business
Yeah.
and nobody else worry about, or saying that, oh my God, Achut was such a bad mom, or Achut failed the entire community.
Yeah.
Knowing that no one will say such a thing,
Yep.
I did a great job.
Yes. Big smile of
Yes,
satisfaction
I
in
did a
that.
great job.
Well, I super appreciate it. Again, I want to give a shout out for those. Again, Don't Look Back is available on Amazon.
Yes, Amazon, Target, Barnes and Noble.
The whole nine. This is the real deal. Like this is
Yes.
official. Again, as you guys all heard, this is again. I'm inside. I couldn't wait for the book to come out because again, I think you have such a powerful story, and I'm excited to see all of the impacts of people reading it and hearing it and being inspired and all those type of things. Again, everything that you went through wasn't for naught. It was obviously you three beautiful boys in this world, but now you're going to be able to unlock your story. So check it out. Don't Look Back at all your favorite stores. Again, thank you so much for hopping on. Thank you for being you, for finding your voice to do the thing, to step out and be courageous enough to. So many people think about writing a book and never do. So again, I appreciate you just being your authentic self, and you are such a gift to our community, to the world, and everyone you touch. So I appreciate you jumping on the episode.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We'll see you guys next time on Success Mindset, and have a phenomenal week.